Hello and welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. I gotta tell you, we're living in a strange world, are we not? I mean, can you agree to that or not? Well, it's hard to make a case that it's not a strange world, right? When someone feels offended or upset or a little bit emotional or flighty or scared, they claim they need a safe space, right? Safe space. What I've realized is we're not playing the game properly. You see, you fight fire with fire, and you fight guns with guns, and you fight sticks with sticks, and, fire with fire. We're not playing their game. We're not fighting fire with proper weapons, as it were. You see, as older, cisgendered, white, patriarchal, misogynist, racists, we need to understand that we have too much money and too much preps, and we're gearing up for the wrong battle, you see. To be preppers, we need to understand who our opponents are. As patriots, we have opponents. As everyday citizens, we have opponents. We're not speaking the right language. You see, you need to tell people, if they get in your face, if they're starting to become an irritation to you, you need to tell them, respect my space. I need safe space. Back off. Start using their language on them. Now, it's important to understand that these people that we're dealing with, these younger folks especially, they're worshipers of weakness, ignorance, and self-destruction. Now, you don't have to believe the things that you say to them, but you need to be able to speak to them in such a way that they can understand you, right? You say back off. They don't understand back off. That's from a mud flap from the 1970s that had Yosemite Sam on it. They don't understand that, right? You should just say, you've offended me and I need some safe space here, right? Now, basically, they're fighting a war of words with us. They don't realize it, but they really don't have an ideology. They don't have anything really to believe in. They just have reactionary, emotionally based stupidity. And so we need to understand that. We need to think in terms of equality with these people. So know that you've got your everyday carry in your waistband or in your purse. Know that you've got real world reality on your side, but you're dealing with people. And we're going to also deal with these same people on these same issues when shit hits the fan. You're dealing with people that don't understand reality. Right? They literally believe that they've seen it in a movie. And I know if you want to go on YouTube and type in person crashes swinging on rope, and you will see people who think that they can swing on a rope like Tarzan or some movie character, and they just, the rope snaps, or they let go of the rope because they're not strong enough to hold themselves, by a rope, and they just crash and wipe out. It's funny as fuck. But these people really don't have a grasp, a concept of reality, right? They don't. So what I'm talking about here is learning to fight the war of words. The war of words is being waged. It's not a war of ideas, because they're really not ideas. It's a shouting match. And I've realized that, like any fight, whether it's with your fists or whether it's with guns or a ridiculous childlike sophomoric argument with somebody whose head is full of mush, it is about striking first and calling them names. You see, I have rallied against illogic. I have rallied against fallacies in my life. Right? I've said you need to really understand and have a foundation, a grasp, if you will, of truth and logic, reason, and have an intelligible argument. You're dealing with people who are basically retarded. And so you're talking right over their head. And you're giving them an opportunity to strike back with their stuff. So understand, you've got your backup, you've got your intellect. Now you need to add to your repertoire, your prepper and patriot repertoire, your verbal weaponry. It's no longer mental weaponry, but you need to add to that mental weaponry. You have the verbal weaponry. You need to strike first whenever you're faced with a socialist or a communist or somebody who starts pretending like they're a victim in your presence. Remember when bullying was bad? I don't hear anything about bullying anymore because the left has taken up bullying, that is yelling and shouting and hurting people's feelings. They've taken that up as a weapon that they have justified. So you need to do exactly as they do and justify your attack on them. And you do that by calling them, whoever they are, co-workers, people on the street, in the store, in a restaurant, at a gas station. The moment anyone looks at you funny or starts in with their bullshit, as I like to call it, you have to understand what you say. You don't have to understand the words, but you just have to use the words. You have to understand how they're like bullets, and bullets kill. And so these people shout at us, right? They shout at you. They shout at the world how offended they are and everything else. How their ideology is right. And so if they shout it in your face, then you're on the defensive. You're like, oh, right? They've shot first. So you need to start firing back at them, right? If they're a college student, just say, check your privilege. You're in college. Where did you get that money? Check your privilege. And yell at them. And continuously yell the same thing again and again. Because the more you yell something, the same words again and again, and the louder you yell it, and don't relent, they're going to realize that you must have a powerful position. Now, whatever defenses, or rather offenses you need, because we don't want to be on the defense anymore, just get a Post-it, put them on a Post-it, and if someone steps in front of you, or someone's off to the side, or someone's starting to bother you with their socialism and their communist facial expressions, you can consult your little secret list, right, and go, check your privilege. You've gone to college. Where'd you get that money? Right? And you can scream at them. Check your privilege, check your privilege, check your privilege. And scream at them. And also wave your hands a lot. It's scary. Remember, these people get scared easy and have to run off to their safe spaces. Now, you might think I'm joking. You really might think I'm just teasing. But as funny as this is, it's also a real life weapon. And it may save your life. It may also cause more of them to come running over to see what all the commotion is. Because, like moths, they're attracted to bright lights. Right? If someone's screaming and yelling, they think somebody's being victimized. And they want to get in on it, right? They want to put down whoever the victimizer is. So by yelling at someone else, check your privilege! Check your privilege. Everyone is just going to assume that other person has a privilege. That they're trying to use their privilege to dominate others. And this is going to be especially useful for women. Because believe it or not, even though they claim they're the same, they love to play the victim. So if you're a woman, play the victim card. Right? Check your privilege. Right? You can also, when attacking someone else who you think is starting to threaten you in some way, you can use any number of attacks, and they don't have to make any sense. You could say their presidential candidate is white, old, and is an anachronistic, racist panderer, right? And this is true. This is absolutely true. Bernie Sanders, old white guy. Joe Biden, old white guy. Elizabeth Warren, old white girl. You can just say, hey, look, your president that you want is white and is old and is part of the patriarchy. And you got to scream and yell. Once again, it's not the quality of your argument. It's the volume of your voice and sounding like you're being attacked and that you're offended by them. Remember, you have to be offended. Everything is offensive to you. And so you have to get in their face, right? Right? You have to get in their face. You can even use words like, you triggered me with your old white presidential candidate, and yell at them. You triggered me. Because that's what they do. And by using the word trigger, you're telling them what they've done wrong. You triggered me. You threatened me by triggering me with your old white presidential candidate. And you've got to yell this stuff. Another one that works, and you can use it anywhere. It's really quick. You don't have to be witty. You can just scream that they're a racist. Racist! 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 You're a racist! And scream at their face. Now, again, you might think this is absolutely ridiculous. And I got to tell you, by even doing this video, I feel rather ridiculous. Because it's complete nonsensical bullshit. Right? But this isn't about making sense. This isn't about putting up a valid argument. It's not about being logical or reasoned. It's about using this as a weapon, as a tool. This is a tool. This is a weapon. Because this is what these people fight with. They fight with words. Now, if they get a chance and they're armed, they might hit you with something. Armed with a bat, a stick, a knife, whatever. But a lot of these things, I think, are escalated. They're escalated by having a calm, reasoned argument. It offends these people, and so they start getting excited and start screaming and yelling, and then someone will act out violently. So by escalating the situation, I'm not telling you what to do, I'm telling you to consider this. But by escalating a situation, by yelling at them, you get a lot of people's attention. People are now going to pay attention. They're going to start pulling their phones out and filming. So you have now evidence that the police can collect if something goes wrong. Right? If something starts going wrong, you can actually go, well, there's people and they've got film, right? You start screaming at someone, right? You're in my space. You're in my space. Back off. You're dangerous. You're a racist, right? Stop abusing me with your privilege. You can do that and get these fucking people in trouble, right? One of the things they also love to do, and I'm serious, call anyone a racist or a fascist. Calling these left-wing lunatics fascists, that's what they are. You just scream fascist, racist, fascist, right? Nazi, you can call them Nazis. White supremacist, call them whatever you want. They're now calling people who are black, who are trying to make logical, reasoned debate and argument points, they're just calling them racist and calling them white supremacists now. What the point is it doesn't matter. There is no legitimacy to anything they say. They just scream what comes out of their mouth. They're not thinking. They are very much childlike. Very much childlike. And I remember when I was a kid, it was a long time ago. If you got in a fight with somebody, your brother, your sister, whatever, you just scream and yell, right? And you hope mom or dad takes your side because you're the one screaming and yelling. It is one of the lowest forms of conflict. But that's what these people are doing. They're just screaming and yelling for the sake of screaming and yelling and hoping that the volume of their voice is convincing to others that they are the ones who are correct. It is incredible, right? And one of the things they do is make rhymes. When you make a rhyme, and you need to come up with your own rhyme that can apply to a vast number of people, the Dr. Seuss attack is what I call it. They Dr. Seuss you, right? Here's an example. Show them the door, social fascist whores. Show them the door, social fascist whores. Right? How many times have you heard these people chanting ridiculous, stupid, small, easy to memorize slogans? And they'll usually hear one person do it, and then they start getting into it. Show them the door, social fascist whore. And every time they say it, they can get louder and louder because they're starting to remember it. And they're feeling proud of themselves. They can do a rhyme. It's incredible what we're dealing with. Right? And don't allow them to respond. If they start to respond and try to talk to you, shout nonsense in their face. Literally. Shout nonsense at them till they stop. You could even say, nonsense, nonsense, nonsense. You're talking nonsense, fascist. And you can shout nonsense into their face, which is telling everyone around you that the other person is shouting nonsense or making no sense at all. But by you yelling and shouting, you are telling the world what the other person is. Now, again, in the world of reason and intelligence, guess what? you're going to sound like an idiot. You're not going to make a lick of sense. You're not doing anything but beating them at their own game. Now, once again, you bring a knife to a gunfight, you're going to get shot. But you've got to fight fire with fire. You really do. You really do. You have to fight fire with fire. And these are the weapons these people have. Remember, these are lazy, entitlement-minded, entitlement-minded retards. They don't have jobs that are worth a shit. They don't know how to budget their money. They blow their money. They don't have real weapons. They might have found a knife, or, why did they hit that guy with a padlock on the end of a cable? Because that's all they have. That's from their bicycle. Those are their weapons. If you pull a gun out on these people, guess what? Right? It's going to cause a hell of a scene, and then you're going to have to wait for the police to show up and tell them why you felt your life was in danger, that you were being threatened by a group of hooligans, and so you needed to pull out your concealed weapon to protect your life because you feared for your life, for your life, for your life. In other words, it's going to get you in a lot of trouble. You may lose your concealed weapons permit if they decide it wasn't warranted, right? You could have a policeman show up and they'll demand you to lay on the ground, and then they might abuse you a little bit before they start asking questions. You never know. You just might get a smart policeman that shows up and goes, "Oh, good move. You pulled your gun out. That was pretty smart." Those kids are idiots. And if they're idiots and loudmouths, the police may have a good idea exactly who they are, depending, of course, on the jurisdiction you live in. You might say, yeah, they're always a problem. Be careful. In fact, I recommend don't coming around here anymore. And again, I don't recommend looking for conflicts. Several months ago, last couple of years, Vaughn at Backcountry Prepper. Geez, sorry, Backwoods. That's a cigar I smoke. Backcountry Prepper. He used to go looking for these snowflakes and social justice warriors to try and have conversations. It's a waste of time because they change the subject matter as you talk. So you have a moving target, or they're always raising the goalpost or moving the goalpost so you can't score points with them. And they'll just resort at the very end to calling you a racist, a homophobe, a fascist. They'll just resort to calling you that anyways. That's what it comes down to. At some point, they'll get so confounded, they just scream and yell at you. So don't even bother with the exercise. Avoid them if possible. But if you have to have a confrontation, take the offense. I'm not telling you to pull your gun and just shoot them in the kneecap. I'm saying start calling them names. Right? But shout nonsense and baseless accusations at them, because that's what they do to you. And you can use incomprehensible words and phrases as long as it sounds like you know what you're talking about and you're screaming really loud. You cisgendered, cosmopolitan, patriarchal liverwurst. Right? That'll really fuck them up. Use a couple of words they're used to and a couple that they don't even know what it is. Right? I'm offended by your whatever they are. I'm offended by your whiteness. Your whiteness. I'm offended by your whiteness. I'm offended by your whiteness. Just screaming, I'm offended by, right? You have to do this. This may save your life. Right? It's not about being smart, correct, intelligent. It's about being offended, sounding shocked by their very existence and presence, being loud and demand that they fix themselves. You go fix yourself. You racist. Go fix yourself. I'm offended by you. You misogynist. Even if it's a woman, shout misogynist at her. Because if you want to make that argument, it's very logical. To shout at a feminist that they're a misogynist, meaning hating of woman, they do. They hate women by telling women that they should be like men. That they should be in charge like men. Right? That's hating yourself, trying to be something else. So you're actually calling something that's true, but they don't get it. The idea, though, is to defend yourself. Now, I know you think I'm being ridiculous, and even though I am being a bit facetious in this, I'm also being honest. You need to have a card on you with some really quick social justice insults. Now, when shit hits the fan, I've talked in many times about examples of a group of Antifa or others walking down your street. Other young students, socialists, communists, whatever. You can't just open fire on them. You can't just lay into them, put down some cover fire, strafe their knees out from under them. You can't do that, right? They may be armed, and if they become threatening, you have to take your defense into your own hands. But understand, they may just come down the street looking for a verbal altercation. It could be shit it's the fan light, and they're just out trying to make people feel bad. You can't go out and just point a gun in their face. I mean, you could, I guess. Is that the right thing to do? Again, you have to choose the right defense. You have to choose the right offense. Right? If they're coming down the street and acting like ding-dongs, you may just want to start screaming racist at them. Right? If they're all white, you might want to start screaming misogynist at them if they're all men. Right? You might want to start screaming fascist at them and make them start defending themselves. Make them turn around and go away. One of the tools I'm going to recommend now is a bullhorn. I think a bullhorn is now a prepping tool. And here's why I'm going to say this. And if you agree with this in the comments, just write the word bullhorn. Bullhorn. If you need to address somebody and you don't have a loud, powerful, booming voice that resonates across canyons, how are you going to tell somebody to stop, turn around, go away if they're 100 yards away? You can't, because you don't have a loud, booming, echoing, reverberating voice. If your voice isn't conditioned for yelling and screaming all the time, in fact, you've heard me cough a couple times after yelling a few, right? You've got to condition your voice. Having a bullhorn is a way to be loud and in someone else's face when they're 100 yards away. This is just the way it's going to have to play. It is going to be a useful item, not only for warning people you want to stay away and conveying a message to them. Stop right there. We are armed and we are dangerous and we're fearing for our lives, and you guys are a bunch of racists. So back off, you're offending me. You can tell them that when they're a long ways away. You can also use it as an alarm device for warning other people in your group, in your neighborhood, your community, etc. We have a bunch of marauders. We have a bunch of thieves. These people are threatening me. You can get help to come to you by using a bullhorn. That's right. If we're in shit, it's the fan. There's no cell phones. Possibly. There's no mass texting. Right? Bullhorn is a way to do it. Siren mode or screaming and yelling. But I think most fights or conflicts that we have as human beings start out with words. Right? You see somebody in another sports jersey and you're like, hey, fuck you. Your fucking team fucking sucks. Right? That's how the other person says, you talking to me, huh? Right? And then the bullshit starts. Who kicked whose ass at the end of last season? Yeah, well, it's this season, motherfucker. And pretty soon there's pushing, shoving, rolling around on the ground. Get done, go have a beer like guys used to. Nope, now it's more words, 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 words. But arguments start, literally, with words. But they become fights. So you've got to win the argument in a way that the enemy, the stupid enemy, can understand. And I know this sounds ridiculous, but what do you think of a bullhorn? It's a way to address them a long ways away. And what if they're in your face and closer? Pull out your bullhorn. Here's another one. You know those air horns for boats, and you hear them in sporting events? Wah, 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 wah. Carry one of those in your purse, on your utility belt like Batman. If one of these fruitcakes gets in your face, start screaming at them they're a racist. Racist, 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 homophobe. And then before your throat gives out, just bah, start on the horn. And then when you get your voice back, shout again, racist, bah. So you don't have to hear them, and you're getting other people's attention. Once again, it's a war of words. These people don't have guns because they're idiots. At some point they may get guns, but this is what this is coming down to. Don't try and beat these people with intelligence. Don't try to appeal to their thinking side, because they don't have one. Right? And this is something we've lamented a long time as preppers. Why won't anyone listen to me? Because you're not speaking their language. You're speaking intelligently, and they're thinking like morons. I'm sorry to say, our family members are morons. They're complete, drooling, dribbling idiots, in all truth, if they don't see what's going on in the world. Unfortunately and sadly, this is a fact. This is how the powers that be and politicians control people. Because they're morons. But you've got to do it. Get yourself a little stack and write down what you think you could say based on your age, gender, race, the way you look, your size. Right? Let's just say you're a fatty. Let's just say you're overweight. And you've got someone that you don't like in your face. You can scream at them, "Stop fat shaming me! Stop fat shaming me! Stop fat shaming me!" And whether or not they're fat shaming you, they're gonna go, "I'm not doing that, I'm not." You got them on the defense. And other people are now going to hate them for fat shaming you, even they weren't even fat shaming you. Use whatever it is you have to your advantage. Now me, I'm a middle-aged, white, European descendant male who's tall and muscular. So I just got to scream that they're a racist or they're a homophobe. Oh, there's a good one, right? If you're a guy, start screaming that they're a homophobe. Homophobe! You're a homophobe! You're offending me, homophobe! Homophobe, get out of my face! Right? Everyone's going to think they're a homophobe. They may go, "Well, you're gay." Well, now you're a hero, even if you're not gay. You see what I'm saying? Homophobe! With your horn. Right? You're in their face and everyone's going to think they're a homophobe. Yeah, you're making a fucking scene. But that's what they're doing. That's how they silence us. That's how they shame us. They are in our faces every day. In our faces, on the TV, on the internet, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Instagram. They're in our faces. You're bad. Screaming and yelling, and people are so tired of being embarrassed and shamed for having a belief system that's contrary to these loudmouth, crybaby retards that they're silencing us and winning this game. Absolutely start standing up for yourself and understand the war it is that we're fighting. Start getting loud and stupid with loud and stupid people. They understand it. And that's all they understand. That's all they understand. Get a bullhorn. This is John, the prepared mind. Out. Chance favors the prepared mind. How many times have you been in an argument where you could have won if you just screamed, "Stop fat shaming me"? Or if you just screamed, "Stop being a homophobe. You've offended me. I need a safe space. You've offended me, homophobe." What do you think that would do? Everybody, whether you're at work, in a store, in the fucking public park, at a shopping mall, people are going to look at that other person and think they're a homophobe. Use their shit on them. Right? Use your shit, use their shit on them. A weapon unused is a useless weapon. And you have a weapon and you don't even use it yet. Start practicing. Do it. It's hilarious as fuck. Do it. They accuse you of all sorts of shit you've never done. Racist? What? Racist? Because I'm white, I'm racist? Yes, it's inherent in you. No, I'm going to yell at them. You should do the same. War of words with these people. Build your armory. Load your weapons. I'll talk to you again soon. Your weapons of word war, that is. I'll talk to you again soon. This is John, checking out.